What's up? Today I want to talk about a completed web novel that I just recently finished. It is called Shinja Zero no Megami Sama to Hajimeru Isekai Kouryaku, or known as Clearing an Isekai with Zero Believers Goddess, the weakest mage among the classmates. Today's talk is more like recommendation plus review. So without wasting time, let's go into it. To start off, the story begins when an entire class is being reincarnated after a bus accident. Pretty cliche, like most typical isekai genre. All of them, yeah, I think all of them have strong skill and state. If you're not familiar with MMORPG, it's basically high state equals strong. Wait, there's actually one guy that doesn't get the isekai route. I think his name is Makoto. Yes, Makoto. The guy who only have 4 mana pool, and to make things worse, he only can cast water element skill, which known for supporting attribute. Luckily he meets Noah, a cute goddess, during his journey. Like how he meet the goddess is it's pretty suspicious. It's close to becoming a wet dream basically. So Noah, aka the evil god, offers help to get him stronger in exchange for becoming her soul believer. Like from 0 to 1, just by looking at the title, it already mentioned about Zero Believer Goddess. So, like, straight away gives what is the story about. Basically, it revolves around how Makoto uses various unorthodox way to become stronger, like borrowing the power of others or using the established relationship that he made during his journey instead of just focusing to increase his state where it's kinda hopeless for him. So yeah. The thing to point out is that the character in the story feel relatable to some extent, especially the main character. I mean, the main character might be seen as a dense person, but then I can somehow understand what he feels considering that things happen around him, not straight to his face. So it takes a process to actually understand what other feels toward him, and that's what makes him quite alive. Knowing he himself doesn't have the omnipotent power also drives him to always expect worst case scenario. All of these aspects really made him as a character that feels much more alive rather than just a fictional overpowered main character. Besides that, the fact that the side characters are not being cast aside totally is also one thing to highlight. Like usually the side characters are just there as tools to pull potential audiences, like the usual of having big boobs or thick thighs. But in this series, the side characters actually support the plot by growing and developing the main character, making the story much more interesting by adding a bit of romance, and as you already expected, provide a bit of fan service, especially the Yuri Yuri part. I mean, if you're not a fan of Yuri, it's only a small portion of fan service that the series actually offer. Moving on, for the writing, I wanna give kudos to the author that write every sentence in a manner that it can be understood easily and quickly. This really helped the reader to enjoy the story more rather than using more time to understand every sentence of the story. The dialogue between the characters also connect quite easily, and it's mainly because the characters have strong personalities that you somehow know their habit of talking and reacting to a situation. Like there's this one character that used Dono to address people. So like every time there's a conversation, you immediately know it's him. Story-wise, feels kinda similar to Tsuraimu and Mushoku Tensei, where they have this kind of free world settings. The isekai characters are not just like limited to fighting and winning against the Demon Lord, but also focus on a lot of things like the adventurous journeys and the relationship between the character. As you go deeper to the story later on, you will find that few parts of the story are quite similar to the title that I just mentioned. So even though the concept is not so unique, as it actually a current trend for isekai genre where they have a weak main character, the author still managed to make it really interesting. The way he writes gives this sense of urgency, wanting to know what will happen next. He doesn't use the usual and typical cliffhanger, but instead he writes in a way that it really makes the reader look forward to the next chapter. So I think that how he controlled the pace with the plot progression is pretty solid. Like, you just cannot find a point to rest, as it will always force you to continue reading. Coming to the end, this series deserves a solid 8 out of 10. It steals like a bit here and there, like there are patterns in the story, doesn't have enough romance, and etc. But still, it's worth your time to pick this series up. I think the series has an official light novel that is still ongoing, but to be honest, this web novel is already pretty interesting as it is. Do read it and tell me your thoughts about it in the comment section. Before you go, do hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. This is Rai-san. Peace out.